There has been a huge breakthrough in battery technology as TDK claims an insane energy density in solid state batteries of about 100 times the capacity of its current batteries. Now, this is an article that would be easy to ignore if it were just some lab, some person, some company you've never heard of, but TDK supplies Apple. They are the supplier for all the batteries of every Apple device, just about, minus some specialty things that they don't do. And the Apple supplier is saying that the battery technology that they have invested in has about 100 times greater energy density than what they have currently in production. They've created an entirely new solid state battery out of metamaterials that just has an extremely high capacity to store electrical charge. Now, what they're saying is that since the capacity is so high, that this would allow for smaller size devices and longer operating times. One of the problems with solid state batteries now is that if you get them too big, they can, break, and that's not good. So you have to keep them small for durability reasons, but now we can make them both smaller and last longer. You could cut it down by a quarter and it would still last like 24 times as long, which is just downright insane. And again, the claim is not coming from a nobody. This is from Apple's supplier. On top of that, they are attempting, if I can find it in the article here somewhere, yes, they want to start rolling this out by 2027. Toyota already has orders in, Nissan wants some, car manufacturers want this technology, their competitors say it's not viable. I think it's super, super interesting. And if we can make solid state batteries that are lighter and potentially cheaper and offer longer performance charging without relying on liquid electrolytes, that's good for everything. That's safer, lighter, longer lasting, longer charging, longer use of the device, longer durability over the lifespan of the device. This could just be something that's downright awesome. I have like little smartwatches like Fitbit and stuff like this, and eventually all companies will be licensing this kind of technology. Imagine if my Fitbit I only needed to charge like once a year. That would be awesome. I've got some wholesome green tech news for you, which is that solar panels installed in France in 1992 were found to have retained a remarkable 79% of their original output now in 2024, which means they're still going strong and functional after 31 years. And if it was painful for you to hear that 1992 was over 31 years ago, all I gotta say is, yeah, I'm feeling you. I'm starting to feel old every day just being able to remember what 1992 was like. Starting to feel very, very boomery. But this is a very awesome bit of news. So when we manufacture solar panels, they're supposed to last something like 20 to 40 years. But this is based on calculated manufacturing decay rates. This is based on what the engineers say the material should do over time. But these things sit on your roof, they get cooked by the sun and hit by weather. And what something is predicted to do and what it actually does are often not the same things. However, these are decaying almost exactly at the predicted rate, actually doing a little bit better than the predicted rate. So the efficiency and ability to generate power isn't degrading that much over time. Now, to be fair, this was an old one. This was a small 1 kilowatt solar array called Phoebus 1. It was connected to the French grid by Hespel, which is a nonprofit associated with an energy association based in Lyon, which I'm probably not even pronouncing correctly. And you would think that this first generation of solar panel technology would have degraded faster and performed worse, but it's actually only losing about 0.66% efficiency per year. And this was tested because they finally took this down after 31 years. And scientists were interested in running some tests and analysis to see how well it actually performed in laboratory conditions. And as it turns out, it performed fantastically. So this longevity bodes well for residential rooftop arrays and the overall transition to cleaner energy sources that's going on right now. I just thought it was a really wholesome thing. I was really happy to see it. And I gotta say, good on you, France. Also, your food is delicious. Political campaigns can now see everything that you watch on your smart TV, and they're spending big money this cycle to deliver ads. So it used to be that campaigns would spend a lot of money on broadcast television, cable, just through the airwaves, satellite, stuff like that. But since smart TVs can track what people specifically are watching it, and give that information to political campaigns just like your smartphone gives away your data, they can target you very, very directly via your TV. As this article points out, your smart TV probably watches you more than you watch it. All of the major companies, Disney, Hulu, Max, Netflix, they all collect a ton of demographic data about you, not just the information that you give them when you sign up, but also little bits about your income level, your sleep schedule, your browsing habits, what you like to watch. And companies like MIQ specialize in harvesting data for political campaigns and turning that into ads for television. So I'm going to scroll through here to give an example. Now, this guy likes to talk about his company being very reliable and ethical and blah, 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 blah. But for example, the man who was interviewed for this article works for the Biden campaign, and the company MIQ analyzed the television viewership in Arizona in search of households that hadn't yet been hit by broadcast advertising and identified 82,000 additional homes to target with pro-Biden messaging on digital. Yay, just what I want. Similarly, the firm also trolled smart TVs in Pennsylvania to find households that were targeted with pro-Trump content and then helped the campaign hit back with pro-Biden ads of its own. We saw some households that were exposed to a Trump ad 163 times. They tried to challenge that by having Biden digital messaging at a frequency of 73 times to disrupt Trump's messaging through your smart TV. Yay. And this isn't the only company. There are tons of companies that are doing exactly this. Everybody from the manufacturer to the streaming services are all profiting from this. Campaigns are spending gobs and gobs of money. As the article says, in some cases, ad services claim they can follow a single person from their television to their smartphone and even to digital billboards at bus stops to keep hammering you with political campaign ads. And yeah, I could kind of go on giving examples here. Some of the streaming sites, such as Disney and Hulu, didn't allow Democratic ads. Other ones don't allow Republican ads. A lot of the money comes through PACs. For example, Roku rakes in a lot of money from all this kind of stuff. But for me, it's just frustrating and sad that my smart TV, which was originally the thing that I paid for and paid a subscription service for to not have ads, is not only now having ads, but it's tracking me and delivering me gobs and gobs and gobs of political ads. I get them all the time when I turn on my Roku, and it drives me crazy. Scientists have made a major breakthrough in microchip technology today, which, according to Yahoo News, could forever change our electronics and can open up a whole new realm. And you might be asking, well, what is that revolutionary change? Well, scientists at the Berkeley National Laboratory, or Berkeley Lab, have invented functional microcapacitors. Now, we often think about these chips in terms of how many transistors we can fit on a board in any particular given amount of space, or how fast they move, or how many gates. I guess gates are transistors, but capacitors are necessary for storing power and utilizing energy. Now, as this article properly points out, most of the capacitor research is focused on battery technology right now. So the Berkeley scientists wanted their microcapacitors to be made on thin films of hafnium oxide and zirconium oxide, which would, in theory, at least achieve record high energy and power densities, and they were able to do so very successfully, which I think is just downright awesome. The discovery could lead to smaller and more efficient electronic devices, such as phones, sensors, personal computers, and more, because we don't have to have big capacitors anymore. You have capacitors in almost every single type of electronic equipment that you use. By the way, tip from one engineer to anybody out there: if you see a thing and you know it's a capacitor, never touch that thing. A capacitor is not a battery. A powerful enough one can kill you instantly. Old CRT TVs used to have capacitors in them that people would touch and take apart and try to fix, and they'd get zapped and instantly die. So don't touch capacitors. Very dangerous. These microcapacitors are going to be too small to significantly hurt a human, but it's awesome because it allows in-chip energy storage and management, which should allow for a whole new generation of microchip technology.